सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् करणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ ॐ इति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम्। Page 226. तदैक्षत बहुस्यां प्रजायेति तत्तेजो सृजत तत्तेज ऐक्षत बहुस्यां प्रजायेति तदपो सृजत तस्मात् यत्र क्वच शोचते स्वेदते वा पुरुषः तेजसेव तद अध्यापो जायन्ते। That Aikshata, that Devata, the deity, namely Sat, existence of Brahman, Aikshata, it saw, it deliberated. Bahusyam may become many, Prajaya may be born, says Prakarshena Jaya may be born very well, excellently. With that thought, Tat Teja Asujata, it created Teja, the element fire. Tat Teja Aikshata, then that element fire also again saw. Bahusyam Prajayati, may become many, may also be born. Tat Apaha Asujata, it created water. Tasmat Yatra Kvacha Shochati, therefore, whenever a person suffers, Sveda Deva or perspires, Purusha, Tejasevatat adhyapaha adhijayante, that water is born of fire only. On the page 227 we are told, evam ikshitva tat teja asujata teja srishtavata bhahusyam prajaya. In this manner, having deliberated, it created teja, the element fire. Then the question is, nanu tasmadva etasmad atmanah akasha sambhutah iti shrutyantare akashad vayuhu tatah tritiyam teja shrutam. But in the Chhandogya Upanishad it is said, tasmadva etasmad atmanah akasha sambhutah. From that Brahman, who is this Atma? From that Akasha, the first element that emerged was Akasha, the space. Akashad Vayuhu, Vayuhu Agnihi. From Akasha Vayu, from Vayu Agnihi, therefore that fire is Tritiyaha, Tritiyam Tejaha. So fire is the third in the sequence. Here it is first in the sequence. There Akasha is first in sequence, here it is not even mentioned. There the Tejas was born of Vayu, here it is born of Sat. So many different kinds of differences are there. But in this Shruti and that Shruti, many differences are there. Ihatu katham prasamyena tasmadeva teja sujyate. Teja is born prasamyena, there tritiyam, tasmadeva sataheva, there vayoho. Tateva akasham, from Sat, Akash was born, here from Sat, Teja is born. Iti viruddham. So many different, so many contradictions are there. Naisha dosha akashavayu sarganandaram tat teja asrujita iti kalpana upapattehe. That Sat or the deity Brahman created fire, having created space and air, so space and air also should be included here. And even though it is said that the fire is born of Vayu, tat teja asrujata. In fact, even Vayu also is nothing but deity Sat or Brahman in the form of Vayu created fire. Therefore, ultimately, fire also is created by Brahman only. So by including those two elements here, even though this Shruti mentions three elements, we should understand them as five elements. Even though it says, even there it is said, Vayoho Agnihi, from air the space is, the fire is born, we should understand that air also is nothing but the deity Sat in the form of air. So that way you can reconcile the differences. Athava avyakshita eva srushti kramaha. Or another explanation is that the sequence of creation is not what is the important thing here, is what is not the main point. Sat karyavidam sarvam. The point is that Sat karyavidam sarvam. This whole universe is karyam, the effect of Sat or existence of Brahman. Sat ekameva dvitiyam iti etad vivakshitam. So vivakshitam, so vaktum ichcha, the intention of the Shruti here is that all is Sat, that's all. Therefore, in what manner things are created is not important. Everything is created from Sat, meaning Sat alone is everything. Sat is ekam, advitiyam, one non-dual. So that is the purport here. Mrudani drishtantat. So from the various illustrations of clay, etc., how it is shown now, clay alone is everything, so also Sat alone is everything. Or tatparyantaram athava trivrit karanasya vivakshitatvat. Or trivrit karanam, intermixture of these three elements, maybe that is trivrit karanam is important here, for which the three elements are mentioned. How come this Shruti does not mention 5 elements? How come it mentions 3 elements? Because Trivrit Karanam, the intermixture of 3 elements. Tejo Bannanam eva Srishtim Achaste. And so that is why the Srishti of the creation of the 3 elements is stated here. As the Tikakara said in the line 28, Karya Viveka Dwara Karanasya Satyatvam. Why Trivrit Karanam? Even Trivrit Karana also, this mixing of the elements, 3 elements, for the compound creation. Why is it so? Karya Viveka Dwara Karanasya Satyatvam. So that when you examine the Karya, the effect, you realize that it is nothing but Karanam. When you analyze the pot, you realize that it is nothing but clay. Therefore, Karya Viveka Dwara Mritika Ityeva Satyam. Trini Rupani Ityeva Satyam. The 3 colors alone are real, and the 3 elements are real, and Sat is real. Tad Vijnanene Karya Vijnanam cha Pradarshaitum. Therefore, inasmuch as anything in the universe is a mixture of the 3 elements, and 3 elements are nothing but Sat. Therefore, whatever is Sat. So that is why, so Trivrit Karanam is the purport here. So Bhashyakara said, Bhashyakara 3 explanations are given here to reconcile the difference between what this Shruti says and what the Taittiriya Upanishad says. One, include the elements air and spice and air here because Upasamhara. This is the rule here, that what is, if the topic is the same, then what is mentioned in different places can be combined. Or the Srishti Krama is not important, that Ek Sat Ekameva Dvityam, Sat is one without a second, that is the purport. So it doesn't matter what the Krama is. Or Trivrit Karanam is purport. So that Shruti can show how everything is Sat. To show how everything is Sat will be told. How what you call fire is nothing but the combination of 3 colors. Yagne, Rohitam Rupam, Tejasa, Tadrupam. Whatever the red color in the fire is nothing but the color of the element Teja, the white color is element water, the black color is element earth. So when you look at this, then Agnehe Agnitvam Apagatam Apagat Agnehe Agnitvam. Agni no more remains Agni. 3 Rupani va Satyam. Only 3 colors are there, 3 elements are there. Sat alone is Satyam. So the purpose of the Trivrit Karanam is to help us see how the whole universe is nothing but Sat or existence. Continuing on the page 228. The Tikakara says, Tatastha Sarupa Lakshanabhyam Tejas Shabdartham Aha. Tejaha, the fire, the Tatastha Lakshanam is stated, the Sarupa Lakshanam. Tatastha Lakshanam, incidental attribute. Sarupa Lakshanam, inherent nature. So Teja iti, Bhashyakara says, the second line, Teja iti prasiddham loke dagdhru aktru prakashakam rohitam cheti. So what is Teja? What is fire? Bhashyakara says, what is well known as fire? It is loke, dagdhru, that which burns, paktru, that which ripens, cooks or ripens, prakashakam, that which illumines, rohitam, that which is red. So this is how fire is well known in the earth. So that well-known element fire is what is meant by Teja. That's all. Tejo matrasya acetanatve ikshana anupattehe aha. And then further Bhashyakara says, tat sat srishtam tejaha aikshata tejo rupa samsitam sat aikshata ityarthaha. Tat sat srishtam tejaha, that tejaha sat srishtam, which was created by sat or existence or Brahman. Aikshata, that also saw, deliberated. So Tikakara says, Tejo matrasya achetanatvena ikshana anupattehe. But fire is an unconscious entity. Therefore, how can fire see? How can fire deliberate? Therefore, Bhashyakara said, Tejo rupa samsitam sat aikshata. First of all, Bhashyakara clarified that the reason why the Upanishad says aikshata, it saw, is to emphasize the fact that Sat is a conscious entity. That's the purpose. Whether it saw or not is not important. What is important is that Sat is consciousness. So Sat can deliberate because it is conscious entity. Therefore, Bhashyakara says, Tejo rupa samsitam Sat. Sat or existence which manifested in the form of fire, so that Sat now in the form of fire deliberated, even though it says Tejaha Aikshata. But then it is in fact Sat Aikshata, Tejo Rupa Samstitam, Sat Aikshata. Sat or existence which obtained as fire that deliberated. How did it see? Bahusyam prajayayeti purvavat. Purvavat, like before, Sat deliberated before also, it deliberates now also. Bahusyam prajayayeti, may become many, may be born. Tat apaha asrujata. Then Sat in the form of Tejaha created apaha, what means water. The word is up, and apaha is the accusative plural, of up shabda, accusative plural is apaha. So created water. So what is water? It says apaha, dravaha, snigdhaha, syandinyaha, shuklascheti prasiddha loke. Water also is well known as dravaha, which is liquid, snigdha, which is cool, syandinaha, which is fluid, shuklascha, white. The word up is always used in the plural, for whatever reason. So some words are used in plural. But up is always used in plural. Dara is always used in plural, daraha, So that's how the usage is. Therefore, apaha, again, that is the plural, the nominative case of the word up. Apaha, dravaha, they are liquid, they are cool, they are fluid, they are white, they are well known. Loke prasiddhaha, that's how the water is well known. Yasmat Tejasah Kayabhuta Apaha Tasmat Yatra Kvacha Deshe Kaleva Shochade Santapyate स्वेदते प्रस्विद्यते वा पुरुषः तेजस एव तत् तदा आपः अधिजायन्ते यस्मात् तेजस कार्यभूताः आपः. Since water is karyabhutam, is created or a product of teja, of fire. Tasmat, therefore, yatra kvacha, yatra deshe, wherever, in whichever place, kvacha kale, at whatever time, shochati purusha, when a person suffers, that's a mental agony. Santapyade, suffers. Svedate, prasvidyate, perspires, sva, purusha, tejasaya tad, tada apaha adhijayante. Then the waters are born only from tejas or fire only. Says Tikakara, apam tejo janyatvam idanim ashru svedarupanam apam santaparupa तेजोजन्यत्व दर्शनेन दृढ़यते. Another says, apam teja karyatve lokanubhavam anukulayate. That water is the product of fire, that is the experience of the people. Lokanubhavam anukulayate shows the experience of people. Here, idanim ashru svedarupana apam. The water, the ashru in the form of the tears, sweat in form of perspiration. Santaparupa tejojanyatva darshanena. They are born of fire. What fire? Santaparupa teja. Fire of the nature of suffering. So, that from that fire, this water is born. Iti dradayati tasmad yatra iti. Therefore, yatra kvacha deshe kaleva shochati. Says the Tika, shochati shokena ashruni patayate. A man suffers, meaning that he brings out tears because of the mental agony, the tears come out. So the agony is fire and tears are water. भाष्ये संताप शब्देनापि तत्पूर्वक अश्रुपात अभिधीयते. So also when Bhashyakara santapyate, meaning ashrupata is involved there, the falling of the tears. Svedate vadi sharira santapena shesha. When the body gets hot, then it perspires. Shokaha manasa santapaha iti bhedaha. Therefore, svedate sharira santapena shochati manasa santapena. The mental agony. That's the difference between the shoka and sveda. So in that manner, then this the Dvitiya Khanda is continuous here, okay? Next passage is Ta apaha aikshanta bhakshvasyama prajaye mahiti taha annam asrujanta tasmad yatra kvacha varshade tadeva bhuvishtham annam bhavate adbhya eva tat adhe annadyam jayate. Taha apaha aikshanta. Those that water also saw or deliberated. Bhakshyasyama prajayamahiti. May we become many, may we be born excellently. Iti. Having thought that way, taha annam asrujata, the water created annam, food. Here it means the element earth. Tasmat yatra kvacha varshade. Therefore, wherever and whenever there is rain, tadeva bhuvishtam annam bhavati. That is where the plenty of food happens. That shows that tasmat adhyayeva tat adhi annam. So adhi jayate annadyam. The eatable food is born of water. So Bhashyakara says, Ta apaha aikshanta purvat eva avakara samsthitam sata aikshata ityartha. Taha apaha aikshanta. The Upanishad says the water saw, the water deliberated. So Bhashyakara says, Purvat eva, like before, abakara samsitam, sat eva aikshada. Water which was manifest, sat which was manifest as water, that alone deliberated. So sat in the form of water deliberated. That's how we should understand. बह्व्यः प्रभूताः स्याम भवेम प्रजायेमहि उत्पद्येमहि इति. So how did it say? बह्व्यः प्रभूताः स्याम, may become many. Prajayemehi utpadyemehi iti, may we be excellently born. Then further says, Taha annam asujanta prithvi lakshanam. Taha, that water, annam asujanta, they created annam. What is annam here? So Tika says, Mahabhuta Prastavat Anna Shabdena Prithvi Lakshyate. Mahabhuta Prastavat. The Prastava here, or the subject matter is Mahabhuta, the great elements. Fire, water, earth. So that is the context here. Therefore, even though Upanishad Anna, we should understand that as Prithvi, as earth. Therefore, Bhashyakara said, Annam asrujanta prithvi lakshanam. Anna here stands for Prithvi, the element water. From that the element earth was created. Then says Lakshana Bijam Karikaranatvam Sambandamaha. This is called Lakshana Vritti. Even though the word Annam is used, we should understand it as Prithvi. Why? What leads you to say that Annam should mean Prithvi? So Shakya Sambandha, some Sambandha must be there. So what Sambandha is here? Karikaranatvam Sambandamaha. Because the relationship between earth and food is one of Karanam and Karyam. And therefore, Karanam is Lakshade, Karya Dwara, Karanam Lakshade. Bhashyakara says, Parthivam hi annam. Because it's well known that annam, food, is in fact a product of Prithvi. So Prithvi is the cause, annam is the effect. Therefore, annam means Prithvi here. Apam karyam annavityatrapi loka prasiddhim darshayate. Here also, how water is the food is the earth is the product of water. That's the loka prasiddhi. So what is well known in the world, that is cited as an example here. यस्मात् अकार्यमन्नं तस्मात् यत्र क्वच वर्षते देशे तत तत्रैव भूयिष्ठं प्रभूतम् अन्नं भवति। Yasmat up karyamannam, because the annam, the food, is the karyam, the product of up or water. Tasmat yatra kvacha varshati deshe, therefore wherever, whenever, whichever place, at whatever time, there is plenty of rain. Tat means tatraiva bhuyishtam prabhutam annam bhavati. There plenty of food is found, seen there. So food is born of water. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Abhinnayoho karyakarana bhavam purvat sadhayate. How two are not separate from the food is not separate from water. So karyakarana bhavam is shown. Tasmat yatra kvacha varshati deshe tat tatraiva भूयिष्ठम प्रभूतम अन्नम भवति। अतः अद्भ्यः एव तत अन्नाद्यम् अधिजायते। Therefore, adbhyah eva tad annadyam, that is what? Eatable food. So annadyam, adyam, food which is eatable. Annam cha tad adyam cha iti annadyam. Adijayate, so eatable food is born. So says Tika, tasmad yatra iti vakyagata anna shabdabhyam पूर्वत न पृथ्वी गृह्यते तस्मात् यत्र क्वच वर्षति देशे तत्रैव भूयिष्ठं प्रभूतम् अन्नं भवति। अतः अद्भ्यैव तद् अन्नाद्यम् अधिजायते। वाक्यगतम् अन्न शब्दाभ्याम, where anna is used here twice. Wherever it rains, that is where the food is. Therefore, the food is born of water. So, what annam is used twice. No prithvi gruhyate. By that what annam we should understand the element earth. Prithivyaha abjanyatva adarashene drishtantatva anupatte. Nobody has seen that the earth is born of water, so that cannot be drishtanta. Drishtanta means something prasiddham, something well known. Something that must be everybody's experience. Nobody has seen the earth being born of water. Everybody sees food being born of water. Kintu vrihyavadyeva grishyate iti vaktum annadyamiti shrutau vishesham dattamidyaha. So by second here annam means vrihyavadi. It is paddy, it is barley, that's what is meant here. Iti vaktum annadyamiti shrutau vishesham dattam. So annadyam, that's why Shruti said, annadyam, eatable food. Iti. So Bhashyakara says, taha annam asujanta iti prithvi ukta urvam ihato drishtante annam cha tat adyam cha iti visheshanad vrihyavadyaha uchyante. Taha annam asujanta iti prithvi ukta. Taha, those waters, water created annam. That annam means prithvi. Ihatu. But in the example, drishtante annam cha tat adyam cha iti visheshanat Vrihyavadya uchyante. But here it is not annam but annadyam it is said. Formerly annam was said which meant prithvi. So annadyam, eatable food, therefore vrihyavadya. So paddy, barley, that's what is meant here. The Tikakara says, Yadyapi Vrikhyadi Annasya Abjanyatvam Idanim Drishyamanam Na Prasivyaha Sakshat Abjanyatvam Sadhu Alantayo Bhedad. Yadyapi Vrikhyadi Annasya Abjanyatvam Idanim Drishyamanam. What we see is that it is a barley, it is a paddy that is born of food, that we see. The prasivyaha sakshat, but from that, the food is born of water, from that, how is the earth is born of water? Upanishad says the water created earth. As an example, the Upanishad cited that wherever there is plenty of water, there is plenty of food. So food is born of water, all right, but how does it establish that earth is born of water? This example is not adequate to establish that earth is born of water. Tayo Vedat, because earth is one thing, eatable food is another thing. Tathapi Prithvi Karyatvat Vrikyadehe. However, the paddy, the barley, being the Prithvi Karyam, the products of earth, Tasmin Drishyamanam Abjanyatvam Karanatvi Tathatvam Sambhavayati. But still, the fact that the food is born of water is evident to us, therefore, and the food being product of earth, therefore, we imagine that earth also indicates Sambhavayati. So the possibility that the cause of the food is earth also may be born of water. Karya dharmasya karanadharma purvakapyasya auchityadi bhavaha. Karya dharmasya, the attribute of karya, the effect, comes from the cause. So, the being born, the birth from water is what we find in case of food. And food is a product of earth. Therefore, they must have inherited, that being born of water must be inherited from its cause, earth. And therefore, we can say that earth also is born of water. Taha annam asujanta iti vakyagata anna shabditam prithivim lakshanena spashtayati. Taha annam asrujanta, the water, anna means prithivim asrujanta, they created Prithvi. So what is this Prithvi? Bhashyakara says, annam cha guru sthiram dharanam krishnam cha rupataha prasiddham. Annam here means Prithvi. I mean, Guru is heavy. Sthiram, it is steady. Dharanam, it is supporting. Krishnam, it is dark. So, Bhashyakara gave the characteristics of fire, characteristics of water, and now characteristics of earth. Iti prasiddham. Anandagiri also raised another point in the second line. Taha annam asujandayiti atra anbhyah anusrushti upadishta drishtan devi tabhyah tasrushti upadishyade tathaja paunaruptyam. The Ashtanta and Drishtanta show some difference. Drishtanta says from water food is born. The Dashtanta also said, water created food. So that means you are repeating yourself. Drishtanta, Dashtanta show difference. Therefore, first food is Prithvi, second food is the eatable food. That's how Bhashyakara distinguished the two. Tat-teja aiksharityadau yathashramartham gruhitva chodayati. Tat-teja aikshara, that fire deliberated in the yathashramartham. Now somebody questions. The Upanishad says that fire deliberated. So taking it literally, the question is raised here. Nanu iti, Bhashyakara says, Nanu tejas pravritishu ikshanam nagamyate himsadi pratisheda abhava trasadi karya anupalambhacha satra katham tat-teja aikshara ityadi. How do you say, how can teja, fire or water, how can they deliberate? Tejas prabhutishu iksham, beginning of fire and then in water. Iksham nagamyate. It is not possible that there is ikshanam, seeing or visualization or deliberation in these elements, fire, water. Because that is possible only in the conscious being. Even though the point was clarified, it is brought up again. Brought up by some Purupakshi Sankhya, the Tikakara will explain. Himsadi pratisheda abhavat. See, na himsyat sarva bhutani. You should not hurt any living being. There is no prohibition that you should not hurt fire. Fire is quenched. Then there is fire. In fact, you put it out by pouring water. So you are actually killing the fire. But it is not said you should not kill fire, you should not hurt fire. That is not that. That means fire is not a living being. It is very clear that himsa or violence towards living beings should not be carried out, should not be done. Nahimsyat sarva bhutani. You should not kill or hurt or injure any living being. But even though you are hurting fire, no prayaschitta is in fact recommended or prescribed. And so, himsadi pratishedamāvāt trāsādi karya anupalambācca. We do not see fear, etc. So when you hurt somebody, a living being, there is fear in that living being. So when they kill cows and animals and chicken and things like that, I mean those creatures are terribly afraid, terribly scared, they scream. So whenever you are about to hurt any living being, you see trasa means fear, but we don't find that thing happening in fire, water, etc. Tatra katham tat-teja aiksharityādi. And how do you say that? Teja aikshara, that the fire deliberated. How do you say? No, teja prabhutishu is plural. In fact, when two elements are deliberating, teja and apaha. So how does Bhashyakara use plural? He should have used dual. He used plural, prabhutishu. So Tikakara explains, bahuvachanam ap tejo vyatiriktyapi achetane isham nasti vaktum. You know? So, that in water, in fire, or in any other unconscious element, there cannot be iksham, there cannot be seeing, there cannot be deliberation. So not only fire and water, but any other unconscious element, unconscious entity. So, न युज्यते अचेतनत्वात् न युज्यते न गम्यते. So तेजः प्रकृतिषु ईक्षणं न युज्यते or न गम्यते. न युज्यते should have been better. अचेतनत्वात्, because it is unconscious. Achetanattvam sadhayati. The Purva Pakshi says, why is fire unconscious? Why is water unconscious? Gives the reason. Himsadi pratisheda abhava. Because there is no pratisheda, there is no prohibition of for himsa or hurting fire or water, etc. Chetanatve tej adinam tad himsayam pratishedasya. So tej adinam chetanatve. If the fire, water, etc. were really conscious, then tad himsayam pratishedasya, it would have been said, don't put out fire, don't burn water. That should have been said. You can't cook, you can't do anything. Nacha tadasti, but that pratisheda, prohibition is not there. Tad himsayam prayashit anupadeshat. Having put out the fire, there is no prayashit. That means that there is no prohibition also. Even if sometimes you don't find nisheda, find prayashit, that means the nisheda was implied there. Atah achetanattvam. Therefore, the fire, water, all of these are unconscious. Himsadi pratisheda abhavat trasadi karya anupalambhacha adi shabda akroshanadhyartha trasadi adi shabda shukadikam grhyate. You should not hurt, you should not shout at also. Normally, you hurt people, selling a sentiment by shouting at them also. So nobody said don't shout at fire, Or shukadikam trasadi, you don't find fire is afraid, or fire is grieving, so that's not fun. Tikaka says, yadyapi tejo rupa samsthitam sat aikshadeti uktva Achetanattvam parihrutam. Even the Bhashyakara already has replied this. Tejo rupa samsitam sat aikshada. So the Upanishad says, teja aikshada, fire deliberated. Bhashyakara said, sat in the form of fire deliberated. So, therefore, we don't claim that teja is chetanam, it is sat that is chetanam. So that point was already covered still. तथापि चेद शब्दस्य सति लक्षणा न युक्ता. Even then, it is so. When teja means sat there, teja aikshata means sat aikshata. So by lakshana vritti, by the word say teja, it means sat. But teja sati lakshana na yukta. It is not right that you should imply exists sat by the word teja. Mukhya satyagasya ayuktattvaditi, because you are compromising, you are sacrificing the primary meaning and using lakshana vritti. Lakshana vritti should be resorted to only when the primary meaning of the vachyartha is not applicable. Iti gudha visundhe sankhya. Sankhya im ashankaya drashtavyam. It's Sankhya who is in fact raising this doubt. Then, Tej Adishu Ikshanasya Aupacharikatve Siddhantana Ukte. Siddhanta said that by Teja we mean Sat. Meaning that the Ikshanam, the seeing on the word of Teja is Aupacharikam. Fire as though deliberated. Really who deliberated? Sat deliberated. But Upanishad says fire deliberated. So fire as though deliberated. Meaning that deliberation of seeing in case of fire is aupacharikam, is only in secondary sense, not in primary sense, in a figurative sense. Alright then. Sat kartrugam iksham aupacharikam sadhayami. The Sankhya is waiting for you to say that the ikshanam or seeing on part of teja is aupacharikam, is secondary. Then he says that why not the part of sat also aupacharikam? Because he wants to establish sat as pradhanam. Sankhya also interpret the word sat as pradhanam. But we say that it cannot be pradhanam because pradhanam is an unconscious entity. How can it deliberate? So he wants to say that pradhanam as though deliberated. If teja as though deliberated, why not sat also as though deliberated? Then sat will be pradhanam, then everything will be fine. Iti gudha abhisandhi. This is the hidden agenda on the part of Sankhya in raising this question. Yadyapi aikshadaiyasya aupacharikatvam tena angikaryam. Even to say that pradhanam aikshada, the pradhanam saw, that also pradhanam being unconscious, cannot really see, therefore Sankhya also would accept that is aupacharikam, only secondary. Tathapi prathama shrutasya tejas shabdasya asanjata virodinah lakshana na yukta. But prathama shrutasya tejas shabdasya. So teja is the first one here. So asanjata virodinah. Kintu charam shrutasya vasa yukta. I don't know what this has to do with Mimamsa, I guess, So asanjata virodinah lakshana na yukta. Kintu charam shrutasya vasa yukta. Vedokrama adhikaranaditi nyayaditi. So Vedopakrama adhikarana, whatever that nyaya is in the Mimamsa. The idea is that teja, it is not right that you take lakshana vritti in case of teja. Shankitu Hridayam, that's in the heart of the Shankitu, of the doubter. Yathashrutam adaya pariharti siddhanti. Yathashrutam adaya. Siddhanti refutes this by resorting to what the Shruti says, naishayati. Anandagiri also says in line 15, Praneshu himsa pratishedhavat anugraha vidhanavaccha. See, we are told that you should not hurt any living being. Same time, you must be very compassionate to all living beings. Sarva bhuta hite rata. We are told that you should not hurt living beings, but we are told that you should help them. But tejas pravrutishu tad abhavat. But that does not include fire, etc. That you should be kind to fire, you should not hurt fire. Teshu ikshnakaya drishtivat eteshu tad drishti abhavat. In living beings, ikshnakaya is there, but in these elements, how can we don't see it? Na eteshu ikshanam pramanikam. Therefore, eteshu, in the fire, water, other unconscious entities, ikshanam seeing the pramanikam, not supported by pramanam. Tathaja prakrutam pramatta gitam. So it is the blabbering, pramatta gitam. It is blabbering of somebody who is not in the right mind, you see. So tesham gunamikshitritvam upetya pariharti. Bhashyakara says you are right. The ikshitritvam, the ikshanam on the part of fire, etc. is only secondary, not primary. So Nish dosha, Bhashyakara says, page 230. नैष दोषः ईक्षित्र कारण परिणामत्वात् तेजः प्रभृतीनां सतः इव ईक्षितुः नियतक्रम विशिष्ट कार्योत्पादकत्वात् तेजः प्रभृति ईक्षत इव ईक्षते इति उच्यते। भूतम और अभूतम both readings are there. ईक्षितु कारण परिणामत्वात् तेज प्रभृतिनाम. Bhashyakara says, in case of teja, apa, ikshana means only in the aupacharika, secondary sense, figurative sense. Then, how do you say that? So, what's the reason for lakshana? Ikshitu karan parinamatvat. Because karanam is sat. Sat is ikshitru. So, ikshanam is there in sat. And the fire and water are the products of sat. Therefore, the seeing that belongs to sat can be implied or can be figuratively said to also obtaining in the teja apa. Satah eva ikshituhu niyatakrama vishishta karyotpadakatvat. Satah eva ikshituhu. So just as sat, because it's a real deliberator, therefore it creates niyata krama vishishta karyotpadakatva. So niyata krama, well-defined order, krama of succession, well-defined order. So wherever you find well-defined order of succession, there must be a deliberate creation. When you find the succession is well-defined, Akashat Vayu, Vayu Agni, Agni Apa, Advya Prasavi, Prasvidhyam Oshaya, Oshadebhyonnam, Annat Purusha. So thus, when that well-defined succession is there, then you know that it must be carried out by a conscious entity, because a conscious entity only can think in this systematic manner. In unconscious thing, when it does, for example, air, so air also does all kinds of stuff. But then the creation by air, that all sorts of things are flown away and then heaped somewhere, it is not well defined, it is not systematic. That succession is not well defined, it is haphazard. Here, this creation is not haphazard, it is in a well defined order. So, Sat, the conscious entity, when it creates in a well defined order. Similarly also, from Teja, Apa also, we find creation in a well defined manner. Therefore, Teja Prabhuti, Ikshate eva Ikshate iti Uchyate. Therefore, so they don't really see, meaning that primarily the seeing is not there in fire or water. But then we can sort of say, because they seem to function as systematically as Sat functions. Just as from Sat there is a well-defined order of succession, and so also from Teja and up also we find. Therefore, you can say that they as though Ikshata eva Ikshata, they as though saw. Says the Tika, Karanagatam Ikshanam Karya Upacharyate. Ikshanam, the seeing is primarily there in Sat, which is Karanam. Then Tejaha, Apaha, Karya. So the Ikshanam that belongs to cause is also Upacharyate, is also in a secondary sense said to obtain in the effect. So the quality of the cause obtains in effect. So cause is Sat, and that deliberation is involved, so that same deliberation also is as though obtaining in the effect. Karya Karana Abhedat, because Karanam is not separate from Upadana Karanam, therefore whatever attributes are there in Upadana Karanam, they would be there in the Karyam also. So either Karya or Muksha Ikshitru Gata Guna Yogadva. Or in Karanam, the Ikshanam is a Guna. And so, Simha Shabda Divata, like Deva Devadatta, Simha, Devadatta Simho, Devadatta. Devadatta is a lion because it possesses some qualities of lion, and so also Tejahapa possesses some qualities, therefore they are also called conscious entities. So Sataheva iti. Then Abhutam, Tikakara says. So iti uchyate Abhutam. Teja Adishu Abhutam Avidyamanam Ikshanam Kalvaitum Arovaitam Ikshitrueva Ikshitruti Uchyate iti Anvaya. Teja Adishu Abhutam Avidyamanam Lakshanam Kalvaitum. To imagine that in Teja also the Ikshanam or seeing is not there, but it is superimposed. It is imagined to be there, thought to be there. Therefore, just as Sat is primarily Ikshitru, but Teja are also as though Ikshitru, because there is the Karyakarana Sambandha here, or the Guna of Ikshanam also follow here as though. Tat Aropasya cha Prayojanam Niyatakrama Vishishtakayoutpadakatva Jnanamiti Bhavaha. Because you find that a well-defined order of succession is there after Teja also, after Up also. Therefore, you can say that they also as though deliberated. Bhutam iti va chedaha iti uchyate bhutam. Bhutam means bhutantaram, avadikam, kalpayitum, utpadayitum. Therefore, bhutantaram, the Teja created another bhuta, namely water. So, for that, so there is a kalpana, there is an aropa. As far as the Teja and Apa are concerned, the Ikshanam is aropitam, is only superimposed, is kalpitam, is imagined. Because the Sat has Ikshanam, so Sat product also can have Ikshanam in a secondary sense. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Teshantihi Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibha Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.